Have you seen them? The people who truly wake up the moment they start decluttering their world? It's in the sharp click of a cabinet shutting, the scent of fresh detergent, that quiet, mounting joy as a messy corner begins to shift and breathe and evolve. It feels like meditation. While many see it as a chore, for them it is something much more profound. It is stillness. It is focus. It is like taking a massive, tangled knot of yarn that life has dropped in your lap and slowly, patiently, winding it back into a smooth, usable sphere. Perhaps that's you. You feel that surge of quiet comfort when every object finds its spot. You don't organize just to be neat. You organize to find air again. In this video, we're diving into that. Why are some of us obsessed with the arrangement of a house? What is actually happening in the soul and the psyche when we find bliss in a neat space? And why does it feel so rewarding, so restorative? You know, I think we all have that one drawer that haunts us. But perhaps it's more than just a drawer. Let's look closer. Let's start with the truth. Loving to organize isn't about being tidy. It's about power in a world that feels like it's spinning off its axis. Psychologically, our environment reflects our inner state. When life is chaotic, messy, uncertain, cleaning becomes a way to create order on the outside. When we can't control what is happening inside, the mind speaks through the hands. It says, if I can prune this single branch into perfection, then maybe, just maybe, the wild, overgrown forest of my life will stop feeling so threatening. That is why, after an argument or a long, stressful day, you find yourself reorganizing a closet. It isn't random. It is emotional regulation in action. In psychology, we call this external control as emotional grounding. When the world is overwhelming, you do something tangible. You fold clothes, you vacuum, you arrange books. These acts give the brain a sense of completion, stability. It activates the reward system, flooding you with dopamine, that feel-good chemical that whispers, you did something right. Even the smallest task, making the bed or wiping a counter, can make you feel unexpectedly proud or light. You might not realize it, but your brain is pinning a gold medal on its own chest, every perfectly stacked towel acting like a silent standing ovation for your victory over the chaos. But for many, it isn't just about feeling good, it's about feeling safe. A tidy home sends signals to the subconscious. You are stable. You are secure. Clutter, on the other hand, triggers a quiet anxiety because it represents unfinished business. Every item out of place whispers to you, you still have things to handle. And for those who feel everything deeply, that whisper swells into a deafening static, like a dozen radio stations all screaming different songs until you can no longer hear your own pulse. They don't organize to impress, they organize to quiet that internal noise. It is their way of carving calm out of a loud world. There is something deeply psychological about the act itself. Organizing is predictable. You know how it starts, you know how it ends. There is a clear cause and a certain effect. You move an object, it looks better. That certainty is rare in an emotional life where outcomes are messy and people are unpredictable. So when someone says, cleaning makes me happy, what they really mean is, it's one of the few things in life that actually makes sense. But let's be real. Not everyone who organizes is trying to control the chaos. For some, it's self-expression. The home is a mirror. The way they arrange their books or display their plants isn't just about tidiness, it's about beauty. It is their way of creating art through empty space. In psychology, we call this environmental self-identity, the idea that our surroundings shout who we are. So, when someone makes their space beautiful, it isn't vanity, it's communication. It's saying, this is what peace looks like to me. For some, cleaning is even a form of mindfulness. It acts like a rhythmic metronome for a racing heart, turning the frantic staccato of anxiety into a slow, steady pulse of being present. They get lost in the rhythm, the swish of the broom, the flow of water, the pattern of sorting. In those quiet moments, they stop living in yesterday. They stop fearing tomorrow. They just are. This is why organizing is meditative. It grounds you in the right now. Your hands move, your senses engage. It is active meditation without the need to sit still or close your eyes. There is another angle, the link between control and creativity. People who love to organize often have vivid, crowded inner worlds. When that creative energy builds up without an outlet, it feels restless. Tidying gives that energy a direction. It turns chaos into order, thought into structure. It is creativity disguised as discipline. That's why, after cleaning, you feel inspired to cook, or write, or start something new. A clear space gives the mind permission to dream again. Because clutter doesn't just fill your rooms, it fills your mental space too. It's important to remember, if you don't like organizing, you aren't lazy. And if you do, you aren't necessarily a perfectionist. There is no right way. There are just different ways of finding peace. For some, mess is fine because the mind thrives in creative chaos. For others, even a small pile of mail feels like a heavy, dark cloud. Both are valid, both are human. The difference is simply what your brain and heart need to feel grounded. There is an emotional history here too. People who grew up in unpredictable homes, where emotions were unstable or boundaries were unclear, often find comfort in physical order. A clean space provides the consistency they never had. It becomes a silent promise. Here, I am safe. Here, I decide what happens. But for others, cleaning was tied to pressure or criticism. If you grew up where mess was punished, you might associate tidying with stress instead of peace. You avoid it. It's not about habits. It's about emotional associations. Our past quietly shapes our relationship with order. Then, there is the neuroscience. When you finish a task, your brain's reward center fires. The sight of a tidy room literally lowers your cortisol, the stress hormone. That is why so many say, "I feel as if I've finally stepped out of a heavy suit of lead armor and into the cool morning air, suddenly light, suddenly capable of moving without the crushing drag of the past." It isn't just a feeling, it is biology. Your mind reads, "Order is safety." Your body relaxes, your breathing slows. Suddenly you feel capable again. You can handle life because your environment reflects harmony. Some use organizing as an emotional language. They may not say, "I'm stressed" or "I'm sad." They just start cleaning. It's how they cope without words. When they scrub, they release emotion. When they rearrange, they realign their own energy. In psychology, this is somatic regulation. Expressing the heart through movement rather than speech. That's why it feels so good to wipe a counter until it shines. It isn't just dirt being removed, it is tension being released. But let's go deeper. Why is a clean home so emotionally healing? Because our surroundings are mirrors for our minds. A tidy space tells your brain, "I am capable, I am in control, I am okay." A messy one can whisper, "I'm behind, I'm lost, I can't keep up." Even if you aren't conscious of it, your brain reads your room like an emotional script. So, when you feel calm after cleaning, you aren't imagining it. You have changed your internal story through external action. And there is the symbolic side. Organizing is about letting go. Every item you sort or discard is a small emotional release, a decision to move forward. That's why decluttering can feel so emotional. You aren't just getting rid of things, you are rewriting your own history. When you let go of those old clothes or unused gifts, you are silently saying, "I no longer need this version of me." That is powerful. That is healing disguised as housekeeping. Of course, not everyone cleans for peace. Some clean from anxiety, and that is okay. If organizing gives you relief, it is because it restores a sense of control. The key is to notice the intention. Are you clinging to care or to cope? One comes from love, the other from fear. Both are human. Both can coexist. The awareness alone brings balance. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Organizing isn't about objects. It's about emotions. It's about saying, this matters, this stays, this goes. It is how we make decisions, not just about things, but about life itself. Every shelf you organize, every drawer you tidy, every space you make calm, it is a reflection of how you want to feel inside. Peaceful, clear, intentional. If you think about it, a home is an emotional ecosystem. It holds your moods, your memories, and your energy. So when you clean it, you aren't just adjusting your environment, you are resetting your emotional atmosphere. You are reminding yourself, this space is mine. This peace is mine. Maybe that's why it feels so good, because deep down, organizing isn't about perfection. It's about belonging. It's about coming home, not just to your house, but to yourself. So, the next time you find yourself folding laundry with a smile or rearranging your shelves for the third time, don't brush it off. It is an act of self-care. It connects body, mind, and soul. It is your way of saying, I deserve to live in beauty. I deserve calm. And there is nothing shallow about that. Because peace is not found, it is created. Sometimes with a broom in your hand and soft music in the background. What about you? Are you like this too? When you finally have a moment of peace, do you love to make your home feel clean, calm, and welcoming? Share your stories in the comments. I want to hear how you feel when your space feels right again. And remember, there is no perfect way to live. Whether your peace looks like a minimalist studio or a cozy, cluttered home full of memories, what matters is the feeling. Because in the end, organizing isn't about looking good for others. It's about creating a space where your soul can finally exhale. Perhaps that's the real secret. It's not about the house at all. It's about, well, it's about finding the way back to yourself. Don't you think? One folded corner, one quiet room. Building a cathedral of peace out of the humble, heavy bricks of everyday chores.